like, wow, okay, I really love my siblings. And the thing
So
is, like,
you're okay with that? Like that's
yeah,
not something that.
yeah, there's a good side to it.
So do you want children of your own
Yeah, I
eventually?
do.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, I
Okay.
eventually do want children.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Ready to Love, and we're breaking down Mark, Anthony, and Jeffrey's situation. And I want to tell you straight, listen, when a man hesitate, this is what it means. It means simply he's unsure. And in most cases, when they're unsure, they don't want the very thing in front of them. You see, men are very simplistic in the fact that when we want something, we go after it, right? Now, of course, some people might be a little bit scared, they might be apprehensive, but they're going, that's a different story. And that's more of a rarity. The more case of it is when a man wants, he goes for it. Okay. And the ones who don't go for it, well, why are we wasting our time? Why are we wasting our time trying to persuade you to go for it? Right. If you're too scared to go for it, you're too scared to go for it. Right. And of course, that is within reason. But in this particular instance, when you ask somebody a direct question about whether they're cool with the fact that you have 3 kids as your children and what they're willing to do in terms of them, taking care and becoming in that role as a baby father, as a father figure for your children, and then they give you a whole story spiel before they answer the question, more than likely they're not going to give you they're not likely very sure and very certain about their answer. But I'm going to break it down by giving you the clip so you can actually see it for yourself. So if you're out there in your dating, especially if you're a single mother as well, pay attention to these type of answers. Anything but a no, anything but a yes is a no. Anytime you give a long explanation for something, it's more than likely a no. Mark is trying to what? Convince himself and convince her that he actually wants it. We'll talk some more in a minute. Give me a few seconds and make sure you like, share, subscribe. Click on that bell button for notification of the what? Uploads, baby. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are what? They are hot, okay? They are hot. All right. Let's get into this. Let's just watch this again, right? Okay.
It's like, wow, okay, I really love my siblings. And the thing
So
is, like,
you're okay with that? Like that's
yeah,
not something that.
yeah, there's a good side to it.
So do you want children of your own
Yeah, I do.
eventually?
Now, of course, I missed the first part, so you didn't get to see it, and I don't have that clip for you. But what she was actually asking him is, are you comfortable with, becoming the father of the kids, basically, coming into a situation where you're going to be in a parental role immediately when it comes to this relationship? Are you comfortable with that? Notice that you didn't hear him say yes. In fact, she had to ask him a question directly again to get a direct answer. Jeffrey's quite a direct person. Nothing wrong with that in this instance. But she had to be direct to make sure she got the right answer from him. His hesitancy and his nature to give you a story tells you that he's not really on it the way he's saying he is. And actually, the story is really there to convince himself that he actually wants this and to convince you that he actually wants this. It's almost like the magician trying to tell you a story whilst magically moving his hands and, trying to almost take your eye off the ball. And when you suddenly realize that the magician goes, voila, it's because now you've been distracted long enough for the sleight of hand to happen and for you to fall into the trap. And now, voila, abracadabra, right in front of your face, and you're suddenly there. Well, that's the very thing you're going to be saying when you're 6 months down the line, or 3 months down the line, or maybe even a year down the line, where you're like, actually, how do we get here? Abracadabra, poof, we're suddenly here. But you don't even want what I want. You don't even want the kids. You don't want this situation. You don't want to be tied up with me and 3 dependents. So why are we doing this? The reality is this. A man like Mark Anthony, like any man, might find Jeffrey attractive, may want to even spend time with her, may even want to do the boyfriend girlfriend thing. But as soon as the actual dependents get too heavily involved, and soon as the reality kicks in that you are going to become an early father without having had your own children, that's when you're going to realize that the reality kicks in and they no longer want this thing because it no longer serves them anymore. So what I'm saying to you is somebody who's sure will let you know they're sure. The words that come out their mouth are sure. They don't tell you a story around about the way to kind of prove that they're okay with the situation. Here's another clip.
Children of your own. So how does that?
Okay, this is like a very important
It
decision.
is.
Based on my background, I was in a blended family. It's like,
So, he says obviously it's a very important decision. Again, there's no yes. I keep saying it, like if I ask you a direct question and it's closed, more than likely it's a yes. It's just that yes, that is what I'm on, right? And then the explanation might come after. And you know why? Because X, Y, Z. But the explanation came before the actual yes. The explanation came before the actual answer. As I'm sure the explanation was the answer for him. But when I see people doing that, oftentimes that's them evading the question, or at least buying themselves some time to kind of think of a good answer to kind of seduce you into a position. Now, I believe that Mark Anthony is doing it because he has to stay on a show, and so is Jeffrey, because he knows that he ain't ready for it. And also, as well, the other part about it is I thought she didn't want any more kids. That's why Blake wanted her. But then again, she didn't necessarily say that. I'm making that assumption because Blake doesn't want kids, to be honest. So that's slightly different. But you know what? A lot of men will weigh up the cost. You see, the Bible says that that a man should weigh up the cost before he builds. So every man has to weigh up the cost before he decides to enter into a framework with a woman like Jeffrey, because she has dependence, naturally as it is. He said it's complicated, and it's like, no, it's simple. Because either you want it or you don't. And given the background of what you've gone through and the fact that you come from a blended family doesn't actually answer the question. Okay, so let me tell you the absolute truth. He doesn't want it like that. He doesn't want it like that. Or he would have answered her directly. But I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell button. I'm going to do a second part of this video. I'm going to talk about Jeffrey's behavior, because what she does in this clip, if you can notice it, you'll see part 2 when I talk about it.
It's like, wow, okay, I really love my siblings. And the thing
So
is, like,
you're okay with that? Like that's not something that...
Yeah, there's a good side to it.
So do you want children of your own eventually? Oh, you do?
Yeah, I eventually do want children of my own.
Okay. By the end of the...
Part 2 loading. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked.